And a very good morning to you, 7 a.m. Thursday, October 9th, 2025. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato with wide open phone lines, 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Sunny and cooler today. Pam, our director, likes that word cooler. Highs about 60, starting to feel like early fall now. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike. What a difference a day
Good morning,
makes.
Ken. Oh my goodness, feels so chilly and starts the day nice and dry. It's refreshing, it's nice, as our director Pam says, and it's just a lovely way to start and feel like fall, right, Ken? Got the beautiful
Yeah,
fall feeling
whatever.
around. So, well, just try to twist the knife a little bit going into the rest of the day. Hey, there's a lovely feel around for those of us that love the fall feeling. This is the weather we've been waiting for. Look at this, 41 up in Sussex, 50 right now in Hackensack, a big difference from this time yesterday. In fact, even with all of the cold air around right now, we are a solid 23 degrees cooler than 7:01 yesterday morning. 20 degrees cooler in Newark, 25 degrees cooler in Mount Holly. That sandy soil right there in the Pine Barrens really doing a good job of lowering the temperatures, even down along the ocean. 22 degrees cooler than this time yesterday in Atlantic City. So with the air nice and dry, dew points are low, hovering in the 30s and low 40s. We keep it clear. The air is still. That's what's allowing for all of that chilly weather to sit put, and it stays nice and dry today. So there will still be a little bit of a breeze developing through this afternoon from the north, keeping our skies nice and clear, and it stays lovely going into this afternoon. Look at the highs today, getting to 60 in Newark, 59 in Long Branch, and 61 in Toms River. Even colder tomorrow morning by about 10 degrees. So it drops off another 10 degrees. That's where we have some freeze warnings now. We'll talk about those coming up in Sussex County. If you remember yesterday, it was just a freeze watch, but that freeze watch is now extended into Morris County for tomorrow morning. So sensitive plants need to come inside. Throughout the afternoon on Friday, we see some thin clouds increase. The winds move in from the east, and this is in advance of our very wet Sunday with that system that moves in offshore. So first place, we have the little bit of wet weather, the clouds and breezes that come in for the afternoon on Saturday, maybe give us a few sprinkles. That just kind of moistens up the atmosphere. And then as we head into Sunday morning, look at the rain that develops with the heaviest showers moving in from the south. You can see the bright shades of red and orange here by 7 a.m. moving onshore, and then the entire state covered in with that heavy rain throughout the morning on Sunday. This also means some gusty winds as well. So heavy rain, gusty winds. It should be a classic nor'easter that takes over. We weren't really sure about this until the late morning yesterday when the newest weather model information came out. It'll park itself offshore and give us quite a bit of heavy rain and wind. And of course, that means beach erosion at the coast with the very gusty winds and rough surf. So weather turns chilly and stays cool through the weekend with the heavier rain on Sunday. It will wrap up by Monday afternoon, but it takes its time leaving. We'll tell you more about that coming up, Ken, with another check of your weather in a few minutes.
All right, thank you so much, sir. It is 7:04 right now, and let's take a look at the Jersey Turnpike. We have a disabled bus on the New Jersey Turnpike outer roadway right now, causing the mess you see on your screen right now. This is by the exit ramp at interchange 14, I-78, 1 and 9 in Newark. The left lane is blocked, and that's causing one hell of a lot of delays right there. We have also a crash on the Turnpike southbound exit ramp to King George Post Road and US 1 and 9 in Woodbridge Township. All lanes are open, but you have the ramp at exit 11 to King George Road, the ramp partially blocked there, and that's causing a lot of brake checking through the area. Crash reported on the Garden State southbound north of exit 144, which is Route 510 in Newark with the right shoulder blocked. And we have a disabled tractor trailer on Corbin Street southbound by Kellogg Street in Newark with the left lane blocked. So a lot of the problems at this early hour to report. Your Hudson River crossings now, the Lincoln and Holland. The Lincoln Tunnel is about 30 minutes in. Holland is only about 15, so that's a good route. And let's take a look at the GWB. According to this, it's telling us about 40 minutes already, and I can see they're not lying. The upper level on the right, lower on the left, 40 minutes in, either choice. It is 7:05 right now, and as expected, things got a little testy at last night's second and final New Jersey gubernatorial debate. When asked how each candidate would grade President Trump, Republican Jack Ciattarelli said Trump deserved an A. Democrat Mikey Sherrill gave him an F. Kind of indicates where the country is, right? Total polarization. Trump improved his margin of defeat in New Jersey by 10 points, you'll recall, between 2020 and 2024. So you would think that Mikey Sherrill might say, all right, maybe a D minus, but she has that far left constituency to talk to, and she doesn't want to make it look like she is giving any consolation to the right in any way. Remember, Trump only lost last year by about 5.5 points in New Jersey, a state which was far bluer than anyone even thought up to that point. Sherrill has made her military service the record of her focal point, or her military service record, I should say, the focal point of her campaign. She defended her service record and explained why she did not participate in her graduation ceremony in the 1990s.
Yeah, so I have addressed that. I've said, look, I didn't turn in some of my classmates, so I didn't walk at graduation because I come from an incredibly accountable place. But I went on to graduate. I was commissioned an officer in the United States Navy.
And it came as the National Archives admitted that it did wrongly release her unredacted military record, including her Social Security number, to an individual who filed the Freedom of Information Act. So the question is, was it done clandestinely and dirtily, if you could use that as an adverb, or legally a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, was requested? It was granted. The thing is, before the information is released, it's supposed to have certain information redacted. But is that a scandal and a criminal thing? And that's being looked into right now. The Chitterelli camp says no, and they didn't do it anyway. It was a third party that did it. And Mikey Sherrill's camp is trying to make it look like this is a scandal on the part of Chitterelli, but there's really no indication that that is the case right now. The records, by the way, do show that Sherrill did not march to get her diploma with her graduating class at the Naval Academy at a time when a number of her classmates were involved in a big cheating scandal. Chitterelli pushed back, demanding that Sherrill release more records about what happened.
At the last debate, Mikey said that she was the most transparent gubernatorial candidate of all time. If she's so transparent, then approve the release of her disciplinary records at the Naval Academy so we can know why it is that she was punished. There was a cheating scandal in the early 1990s while she was there. We know for a fact that she wasn't allowed to participate in the graduation ceremony. We know for a fact that her name was not listed in the commencement exercise program. She says it's because she didn't turn in classmates. That's the honor code at West Point. That's not the honor code at the Naval Academy. You don't get punished for that. I think she was punished for something else. And so I think she needs to come clean. I think the people in New Jersey deserve an answer as to why she was punished at the Naval Academy. And she's trying to create a giant smokescreen for something the National Archives has taken complete responsibility for and apologized for with regard to a Freedom of Information Act request that was perfectly legal.
Well, then there was the shame on you moment, responding to a question over job creation in the state. Sherrill attacked Chitterelli over a past report that a medical publishing company he once owned was paid millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry, the biggest industry in New Jersey, to create educational materials that stated there was a low risk of opioid abuse among patients with chronic pain. Sherrill appeared to blame the deaths of tens of thousands of New Jerseyans last year alone on Chitterelli for the publication and a subsequent app that his company created. To that, Chitterelli snapped back.
First of all, shame on you. Second of all,
Shame on you, sir.
shame on you. During the Biden administration, she had no problem whatsoever with tens of thousands of people crashing our border each and every day, not knowing what impact they had in our communities with regard to fentanyl crisis, fentanyl abuse, fentanyl distribution, vaccination rates, and the like. Talk to your local police, talk to your county prosecutors in New Jersey. Since the border's been secured, fentanyl crisis has decreased significantly.
Chitterelli, meanwhile, accused Sherrill of hypocrisy over the ongoing government shutdown, pointing out that under the Biden administration, Sherrill voted every single time for a continuing resolution to keep open the government. Sherrill talked about how political violence is dangerous for our nation.
But we've seen a continued uptick in political violence, and that is never acceptable. It really undermines, I think, our democracy and the idea that people want to come forward and serve. And I worry very much that with this kind of political violence, we are going to see people trying to step away from public life.
Well, the two also talked about energy costs in the state. Chitterelli pointing out that Sherrill's plan to deal with high energy costs was met with skepticism by not only the current Democrat governor, but also scores of Democrat New Jersey lawmakers, none of whom came to her side and said that's a good idea. When asked to say something nice about one another, though, Sherrill did praise Chitterelli's son for serving in the military, and Chitterelli praised Cheryl for her 9 years of military service. The polls, meanwhile, are all over the place, with one showing Chittorelli a point ahead. That was an internal poll for his camp. Another having them tied. That's the Emerson poll. And a more recent poll showing Cheryl 2 points ahead, but still within the margin of error. It is 7:11 right now. Our other top story. It looks like President Trump may have pulled off the impossible: peace in the Middle East. Trump announced that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of a peace plan for Gaza. This means that all of the hostages will be released on Monday, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed upon line as the first steps toward a strong, durable, and everlasting peace. The announcement comes after 3 days of indirect talks in Egypt, mediated by officials from Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, and the U.S., aimed at bringing an end to the 2-year conflict. Both Israel and Hamas also confirmed an agreement has been reached. This is something that could very well get the president the Nobel Peace Prize. 7:11, former Democratic Congresswoman Katie Porter, Democratic Congresswoman from California, is known for grilling corporate executives at House hearings, but it was Porter, now a candidate for California governor, who found herself growing edgy under questioning by a CBS local TV reporter and even threatening to walk out. A segment of Porter's recent interview with CBS Sacramento reporter Julie Watts has gone viral. Her Democratic rivals in the crowded 2026 contest to replace outgoing Governor Gavin Newsom said the tense exchange showed Porter is too unsteady for the state's highest job, with calls now, even from her Democrat colleagues, for her to quit the race. Watch the very uncomfortable back and forth.
Are you going to ask them not to run?
No, I'm saying I'm going to build the support. I have the support already in terms of name recognition. And so I'm going to do the very best I can to make sure that we get through this primary in a really strong position. But let me be clear with you. I represented Orange County. I represented a purple area. I have stood on my own 2 feet and won Republican votes before. That's not something every candidate in this race can say. If you're from a deep blue area, if you're from LA or you're from Oakland, you don't have an experience.
But you just said you don't need those Trump voters.
Well, you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't
I
think
feel
you
like
need
this
them
is
to win.
unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
Correct. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written, and I'll answer it.
And we've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters, okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered
I don't
our
care.
follow-ups.
I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list. And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And
Porter,
we're just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never had to do
reporter.
this before, ever.
You've never had to have a
end an
conversation
interview.
with
To end
a
an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make...
So you're not going to answer questions from reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So nearly every legislative...
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you, and I don't want this all on camera.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you either. I would love to continue to ask these questions so that we can show our viewers what every candidate feels about every one of these issues that they care about.
All right, Ms. Porter, you want to be governor of the biggest state of the union? Put on your big girl pants and answer some questions. And a reporter, when you agree to an interview, the reporter could ask whatever questions they want. It's up to you to say, I'm not going to answer that, and move on. You don't tell the reporter, you don't dictate the terms of the interview. And a reporter who accepts dictated terms is not a reporter. I want to commend that reporter from CBS Sacramento for doing an incredible job at trying to refocus and giving Ms. Porter time and time again. She gave her chance after chance just to answer the questions. She was professional and composed and never lost her cool. That is something I can't say that I've always been able to maintain. Well, Porter has also had explosions of anger at staffers in the past. There's video of her online when a staffer walked into a Zoom shot where she curses at the staffer. She was forced to take anger management classes as part of her divorce with her husband, allegedly dumping scalding mashed potatoes on his head. That's what the husband alleges. So don't know if this woman's going to stand a chance to continue in the gubernatorial race in California. Right now, she is in the plurality head. She has 15% of support. It's still a year away, a year and a quarter away. We'll see what happens. But if anyone takes a good look at this video, you'll see this woman does not have the temperament to be in leadership office. 7:16 when we come back, sunny and cooler today. Highs about 60. A full Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta when we return. And you're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We're streamed daily on Roku, Fire TV, News on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, Facebook, and X. We're also streamed live on Substack, Rumble, and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/ONNJersey. We're coming right back.
We need to move into clean power. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg, but if you're a good person, you'll do it.
Unbelievable. Talk about out of touch. I'm Jack Chitterelli. Politicians like Mikey Sherrill and Phil Murphy just don't get it. They're making New Jersey unaffordable, especially for the middle class. We need a change. My plan brings down property taxes, lowers electricity bills, and cuts your income taxes. Because you should keep more of what you earn. It's time to fix New Jersey. When I'm governor, we will.
And welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Thursday, 7:17, sunny and cooler today. Highs about 60. When we say cooler, it is 46 in Trenton right now. Yikes. Sorry about that. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast for you. Good morning, Mike. Mike, listen, I'm currently, true confessions here, I'm sitting in Fort Lauderdale, but now I'm terrified to travel north tomorrow morning when I'm supposed to. I'm kind of scared.
Oh,
like the
but Ken,
with water.
But Ken, you're coming just in time for the nor'easter. So it's going to be a whole mixed bag of fall weather this weekend. Yeah, I know. A lot of rain on the way for Sunday. Not exactly great weather for the second half of the weekend, but at least we're enjoying the sunshine right now, right? I've got the window open here in the office, drinking the iced coffee. My hands are a little chilly, and it feels kind of nice. Feels like October, especially when you see all of these kind of cool shades of purple and blue on the map, indicating the freeze warnings that are currently in place for later tonight into tomorrow morning. That's for Sussex County, Warren County, and the western sections of Passaic County, and then a frost advisory that's right now in place for tomorrow morning for Morris, Somerset, Hunterdon, and Mercer counties. This light mint shade of green you see here is some coastal flooding that may occur, and that's with the storm on Sunday. We'll get to that part of the forecast in just a bit. As far as the rain is concerned, there is quite a bit of it coming in for late Sunday into Monday, and it could total up to anywhere from 2 to 4 inches down along the coast. That is a lot of water in a short amount of time, in about a 24-hour period, anywhere from 1 to 2 inches forecast in Newark. And these could go higher, specifically with the storm track that may shift. Remember, the storm hasn't even developed yet, and it won't develop until Saturday night off the Carolinas. But all of that moisture heads up to New Jersey over the course of our Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon. Enjoy the sun today. Enjoy the clear, cool breezes of 63 in Point Pleasant, 62 in Freehold. It will feel lovely through this afternoon because the wind actually relaxes, so it'll feel quite nice through the end of the day. There's our front, moved out to sea, so we have nothing but clear sky today and tomorrow. Looking beautiful, and most of the country nice and quiet as well. You see this little area offshore, that's where our storm will develop for Sunday, and then it moves up the coast and gives us our rain and wind. So until then, air is very dry. It's lovely. Temperatures are nice and low and stays dry with these dew points in the 20s. That is incredibly dry. Going through tomorrow morning, that's how we get so cold early on in the day. By the afternoon, a little bit of a wind coming in off of the water, and that leads to a more humid feel on Saturday, kind of that cool, damp feel that you'd expect for an October day with the wind off of the water. And then by Sunday, that's where the rain starts to get going. So it'll be quite wet by then. Sunday into Monday, I showed you the zoomed in view before for Sunday, showing all those shades of yellow. Well, even into Monday, we have some showers around as the storm sits and spins offshore and throws back some showers, potentially even to Tuesday morning. We really don't see clearing until much later on next week, probably by Wednesday into Thursday timeframe. But it's just an October kind of feeling forecast until then. Not much change in terms of the amount amount of sunshine we'll get for next week. Feeling quite cool. So there's our cool and breezy Saturday with clouds. Sunday has the rain moving in early, turning heavier through the afternoon with some very gusty winds, especially at the coast. Wind gusts could be upwards of 40 or 50 miles per hour Sunday afternoon at the coast. So not only will there be some coastal erosion, but also some potentially for some flooding as well with the amount of rain and, of course, the higher than average tides with that wind out of the east. It's pretty messy by the end of the weekend, Ken.
If you were the Columbus Day Parade planners in East Hanover for Morris County, would you push it up to Saturday or postpone it to Monday, or what would you do? Just if it was your choice.
So if possible, Saturday would be ideal because it's just going to be a little cloudy. But I think the winds and the rain, that's maybe what, will make it not as appealing to have a parade on Sunday. If there is an opportunity to have a rain date, that would be the best case scenario.
Because rain is one thing, but winds and rain are another.
Yeah.
That's where it makes it a little hard because it blows into tents and everything else. So
sure.
All right. Well, we listen to you, meteorologist Mike Favetta. That's why they pay you the 9 figures that they pay you, and or at least they should. They should. I'm going to make a little note.
I can't count that
Gerald,
high, so I don't know.
At least. No, by 9 figures, I mean the number $9, and that's
Oh yes, correct, yes.
All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. It is a refreshing, let's use that word, a refreshing 46 degrees right now. In terms of traffic, let's take a look, if we can, at this is the New Jersey Turnpike. We have a disabled bus on the New Jersey Turnpike, Hudson County Extension, eastbound west of Jersey Avenue, Holland Tunnel in Jersey City. The left lane is blocked, and look at the damage there with all those people just not moving right now. It's an absolute mess. Over to Lawrence Parkway in Old Bridge Township, we have a crash on Route 35 southbound just north of 689 Lawrence Parkway. The left lane of 2 lanes closed right now. We have a disabled bus on the Jersey Turnpike, outer roadway, northbound exit ramp by interchange 14, I-78, and 1 and 9 in Newark with the left lane blocked. And a crash on the Garden State southbound north of exit 144, Route 510 in Newark with the right shoulder blocked. Hudson River crossings right now, still only 15 at the Holland Tunnel. It's 20 to 25 at the Lincoln and about 35 at the GWB. Take a look at the upper and lower levels right there. You can see the lower on the left, maybe a little better than the upper on the right. But either way, don't take the shoulder like that guy just did, because you can get into a serious accident and get some serious points on your license. 7:23, a 29-year-old man has been charged with sparking California's deadly Palisades fire. Remember this at the beginning of the year? It was one of the most destructive wildfires in history. Federal officials say Jonathan Rinderknecht, who lived in the area, started a small fire on New Year's Day that burned underground. It smoldered before reigniting nearly a week later and then roaring through the Pacific Palisades, home to many of Los Angeles' richest and most famous. The fire, which left 12 people dead in the hillside neighborhoods across Pacific Palisades in Malibu, was one of the 2 blazes that broke out on January 7th, killing more than 30 people in all and destroying over 17,000 homes and businesses while burning for days in Los Angeles County. By the way, not a single house has been rebuilt yet, courtesy of a very inept governor and mayor out there with all the rules and regulations. Rather than just letting the builders come in and start building following the code, they are trying to follow the rules like it was 2 years ago, and they don't understand that when you have 30,000 applicants at the same time and only 3 people in the back office stamping them, you can't do it the old-fashioned way. But that's liberals. Liberals do things that way. Rinderknecht was arrested Tuesday in Florida. For some reason, he was in the Sunshine State, made his first court appearance Wednesday in Orlando on charges including malicious destruction by means of a fire, which carries a minimum sentence of 5 years in prison. Apparently and allegedly, he was listening to rap music about destruction. He was allegedly playing video games that showed the burning down of houses. And so there are some issues there, although when asked in court if there are any psychological issues, allegedly, he said no. So we'll see where this goes. 7:25, the Trump administration warned there's no guarantee that furloughed government workers would receive their back pay when the government shutdown is over, reversing what was a longstanding policy for 750,000 staffers. In Trump's memo, his Office of Management and Budget, OMB, says back pay must be provided by Congress if it chooses to do so, as any part of any bill to fund the government. The move is widely seen by many as a strong-arm tactic, as a way for the Republican administration to apply pressure on lawmakers to reopen the government. And why not? It's now in its 8th day of shutdown, while federal workers as well as service members of the military have often missed paychecks during previous shutdowns. They're always, or almost always, reimbursed once the government reopens. But Trump is saying, no, to pressure them to reopen the government, he's saying we're not going to give them. There's no law that says you have to give them back pay because they didn't work. Under federal law, you don't have to pay them. So Trump's saying, all right, Democrats, if you really want to, we just need like 4 Democrats in the Senate to reopen this. This is not a Trump shutdown. This is a Democrat Schumer shutdown in the Senate, because all the Republicans in the House and Senate are for this extension of the budget. That's all it is. It is an extension of the Democrat-approved budget, not even the Republican-approved budget. And the Democrats, 4 of them in the Senate, will not budge under Schumer, and that's why the government is shut down. So Trump is saying, if you want to move this thing along, we're going to say nobody gets paid and nobody will get paid. So now the ball's in your court, Democrats. If these people in the military and the air traffic controllers don't see a paycheck and we have to shut down air traffic control, it's on you. So open the government so we could sit down and negotiate again. You don't want to do it? Then everybody's going to get pissed off, not at the Republicans, but the Democrats, because they're the ones who forced the shutdown. It's as simple as that. You can call it what you want, but that's just a fact. President Trump yesterday announced his support for New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew in the former Democrats' bid for re-election, even though it's still a year away. Trump said that Congressman Jeff Van Drew is a MAGA warrior for the incredible people of New Jersey's 2nd Congressional District. He said that on Truth Social. Van Drew ran as a Democrat in 2018 and was elected to represent New Jersey's 2nd Congressional District with 53% of the vote. And then the congressman later broke away from the Democrats and aligned with the GOP in his first term, winning re-election in 2020, 2022, and 2024, but these times as a Republican. Van Drew, who also serves as chair of the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Oversight, has been a staunch ally of Trump since his conversion. We're going to be talking to Billy Prempa, who is a Republican candidate for Congress in the 9th District. We'll ask him about that endorsement. Also, a strong supporter of Trump himself. 7:27, and New Jersey Congressman Josh Gottheimer is calling on the state's largest teachers union to fire one of its magazine editors because he says she posted hate-filled rhetoric on social media. The congressman demanded the union immediately terminate Ayat Orabi. Orabi is the editor of NJEA Review, the union's magazine, which gets distributed to about 200,000 members. Gottheimer says that Orabi's verified social media accounts show her praising Hamas, using derogatory language toward Jews, and sharing conspiracy theories about Israel's role in the October 7th Hamas attacks. No comment yet from Orabi. Jersey City's current mayor will have a new job come the new year. Stephen Fulop will serve as the next president and chief executive officer of the Partnership for New York City. Sort of the biggest chamber of commerce for New York. Good for him. Fulop will succeed outgoing president and CEO Catherine Wild, who led the organization since 2000. Fulop unsuccessfully ran in the Democratic primary for governor of New Jersey. He's a former Jersey City councilman and a former U.S. Marine. The Partnership for New York City, again, is the largest chamber of commerce for New York, whose member organizations employ over 1 million workers. And former FBI Director James Comey sat yesterday as the nation's former top law enforcement officer appeared before a federal judge as a criminal defendant in a case with monumental significance. Over the course of a few minutes, a lawyer for the 64-year-old Comey entered pleas of not guilty to a pair of federal charges that his client had lied to Congress and obstructed a congressional proceeding in testimony that he gave more than 5 years ago about his investigation into 2016 election interference. Comey was released without bail, pending a trial scheduled for January 5th of 2026. We were just talking about this with meteorologist Mike Favetta. What are you doing this Sunday, October 12th? Why don't you come out and join on New Jersey as we broadcast live? Hopefully, it's still on, despite the weather forecast. We're going to be broadcasting live from the 19th Annual Morris County Columbus Day Parade starting at 2 p.m. on Ridgedale Avenue in East Hanover. If you can't make it in person, you could watch it live starting at 2 p.m. right here on New Jersey. The 19th Annual Morris County Columbus Day Parade this Sunday starting at 2 p.m. streaming live on New Jersey. A chilly 46 degrees now at 7:30. When we come back, the importance of carving out time for self-care. Sunny and cooler today. First early fall day feel. Highs around 60. The full Garden State forecast. I'm about to sneeze. You caught me. I tried to fight it. The full Garden State forecast when we return. Was that not the wimpiest sneeze ever? And we will take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We're coming right back, and I'm going to go take care of my sneeze now.
We vote to protect the Social Security we worked hard for. We vote because family caregivers deserve support. We vote to have a say in our future. For all the reasons why, AARP has information about when, where, and how to vote. Find the information you need to make your voice heard.
A very good morning to you, 7:31 on Thursday, October 9th. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. The phone lines are open at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. If you like fall, like Pam, our director, today's your day. Sunny and cooler. Highs about 60 right now. 46 degrees in Trenton. It's 44 in northern New Jersey. Highs only about 60. Wow. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Full Garden State forecast. Pam is literally, she has cheerleader pom-poms right now. She is jumping in the control room.
Yes.
She's so happy.
That's right. They're pumpkin spice pom-poms. That's what it is.
Pumpkin spice pom-poms. Of course they are.
Because if that's a thing, it probably will be a thing for next season because, you know, we tend to go crazy with that. But hey, we've got some lovely fall weather on the way today. You can already see the trees changing color in northern New Jersey, even some pockets of color down across southern New Jersey at the coast from Atlantic City toward Ocean City. Highs today climb into the mid 60s. So a little bit of a warm up from where we sit currently in the 40s, but that's all we get. It'll feel nice and cool. Our average high is 69 degrees, so we're actually a little bit cooler than the average. And if you notice, that sun is setting earlier and earlier now, before 6:30. Clear sky all day today, keeping an eye down toward the tropics as that tropical storm Jerry likely turns into a hurricane later today. But again, forecast to stay out to sea as we head into tomorrow and takes that right turn going east of Bermuda, so not anticipated to affect any land out in the Caribbean even. Our forecast points to a lot of clear sky today with a lighter breeze by this afternoon, but the key here is the wind shift for tomorrow morning, keeping most of northern New Jersey dry and clear overnight, meaning we get really chilly, have those freeze warnings in effect. And then with that easterly breeze by tomorrow afternoon, some clouds return, a little bit more humidity, setting the stage for a very gray sky on Saturday. So Saturday's pretty overcast all day long, maybe a few light sprinkles by the end of the day, just to kind of wet the atmosphere a little bit, because the rain that comes in for Sunday will be quite impressive, especially down the shore early on, as that not a tropical system, but some tropical characteristics with this nor'easter as it develops. We'll show you that in a sec. Here's the high pressure that's allowing for the clear sky today and tomorrow. But as that moves out to sea, it allows the opportunity for that moisture to work its way up the coast. And while the heaviest of the rain stays to our south on Saturday, look at that, comes right up for Sunday afternoon, giving us the heavy rain, the wind. And even though the low pressure is sitting on top of New Jersey by 8 o'clock on Sunday, there's still all of the rain ahead of that. So we'll see a lot of that wet weather move in throughout Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon, and then it moves out throughout the day on Monday. So yeah, it's going to be a really wet and rainy and of course very windy day on Sunday with that heavy rain and wind predominantly through the afternoon hours. I think the morning just sees the wet weather get going, but the real bad stuff comes in later on in the afternoon. Monday sees a little bit of clearing by later on in the day, but again, it's still pretty wet. Have to wait till Tuesday and Wednesday to finally dry things out, where highs climb back into the upper 60s and low 70s. The shore, wetter still. I think you'll have the best opportunity for some steady rain. Again, 2 to 4 inches of rain likely. The coastal erosion and the flooding going to be a concern going into Monday. And then by Tuesday, we'll see that weather clear. So a lot of weather this weekend to be wary of. It's rain we need, but this also comes with the risk of flooding, not only from rain, but also the coastal flooding at the ocean as well. So a lot of impacts with this storm this weekend, Ken.
It's like Mother Nature said, you asked for rain, what do you want? I'm giving it all at once, all of it. Like, we needed it in little spurts, Mother Nature, not to tell you how to do your job. But she was like, oh, I'll just give you 6 months of rain in like a weekend. How about that?
Well, the ironic part is that if this storm were named as a tropical system, it would get the name Karen. Isn't it a Karen storm? It's just, it would have been so perfect, but no, just a nor'easter.
God, I love it. I love it. Yes, that is definitely a carol. Although let's not say that too loud. Let's just keep that. All right. Mike, thank you so much. I just get a kick out of seeing the number 46. And I think that there's a mistake on the computer here that it says 46 degrees. But yes, 46 in Trenton. There you go. Thank you, Mike. And yes, it is 44 degrees in northern New Jersey and 43 down in Cape May. It is a brisk, chilly, nice morning. A very nice fall morning for those who like that temperature. In terms of traffic, let's take a look at the Hudson County extension of the New Jersey Turnpike. We have a disabled bus to report here. This is eastbound west of Jersey Avenue, Holland Tunnel exit in Jersey City. The left lane is blocked. You can see everybody just stopped trying to get through there until they can clear that. So a disabled bus is a big deal because that means you got to get heavy tow out and move that. So no one is going anywhere coming off that area of the Hudson County extension of the New Jersey Turnpike west of Jersey Avenue, Holland Tunnel in Jersey City. Disabled, let's see, it's separate disabled. Look at this, two different disabled buses. We have a disabled bus on the New Jersey Turnpike Outer Roadway, northbound exit ramp interchange 14 by I-78, 1 and 9 in Newark. I thought this was the same report there for a second. This is separate. The left lane is blocked there. We have a crash on the Garden State Parkway southbound north of exit 144, Route 510 in Newark with the right shoulder blocked. And the Hudson River crossings right now, the Lincoln is reporting 25 minutes across. It's only 15 to 20 at the Holland, and it's about 35 to 40 at the GWB upper and lower levels. You can see they're pretty heavy still. The upper level on the right, lower on the left. Again, it's 35 minutes about to get in via the GWB. 7:37, were you up watching the debate last night? Well, as expected, things got a little testy at last night's second and final New Jersey gubernatorial debate. When asked how each candidate would grade President Trump, Republican Jack Ciattarelli said Trump deserved an A, and Democrat Mikey Sherrill gave him an F, which kind of reflects the polarity, the polarization of American people right now. The people on the right think he's doing everything exactly as he promised. It's exactly what we voted for, what he called for doing. And meanwhile, everybody on the left is saying, how could you take us back, et cetera, and do all these terrible things? It's called following the law, Mikey. No offense, but the law says you can't be here illegally. The law says there are ways to come here illegally, and the president ran to take the 15 to 25 million people who came here illegally and send them back. What part of that is hard to understand? It's called following the law. We're a nation of laws. Remember, no one's above the law. The Democrats told us about that. But apparently, if you're an illegal, you're above the law. But otherwise, you're not above the law. If you're an American citizen, an elected official, you're not above the law. But if you are an illegal, you're above the law. I guess that's the mantra of the Democrats. Trump improved his margin of defeat, you'll recall, in New Jersey by 10 points between 2020 and 2024, losing last year by just about 5.5 points in New Jersey. Sherrill, who has made her military service record the focal point of her campaign, defended her service record and explained why she did not participate in her graduation ceremony in the 1990s.
Yeah, so I have addressed that. I've said, look, I didn't turn in some of my classmates, so I didn't walk at graduation because I come from an incredibly accountable place. But I went on to graduate. I was commissioned an officer in the United States Navy.
And to her credit, she served 9 years honorably in the U.S. military. So you can't take that away from Mikey Sherrill. It is an honorable thing that she did by serving our nation. And she has her kids in the military academy right now, in the Naval Academy. And her husband was also in the Navy. So thankful. We're thankful that you served our country. So that is not a bad thing. That is a very good thing, worthy of praise. This all came, by the way, as the National Archives admitted that it wrongly released Mikey Sherrill's unredacted military record, including her Social Security number, to an individual who filed a Freedom of Information Act request. Now, those records show that Sherrill did not march to get her diploma with her graduating class at the Naval Academy at a time when there was a number of her classmates involved in a cheating scandal, including her husband, by the way, at the time. Ciattarelli pushed back, demanding that Sherrill release more records about what happened back then.
At the last debate, Mikey said that she was the most transparent gubernatorial candidate of all time. If she's so transparent, then approve the release of her disciplinary records at the Naval Academy so we can know why it is that she was punished. There was a cheating scandal in the early 1990s while she was there. We know for a fact that she wasn't allowed to participate in the graduation ceremony. We know for a fact that her name was not listed in the commencement exercise program. She says it's because she didn't turn in classmates. That's the honor code at West Point. That's not the honor code at the Naval Academy. You don't get punished for that. I think she was punished for something else. And so I think she needs to come clean. I think the people in New Jersey deserve an answer as to why she was punished at the Naval Academy. And she's trying to create a giant smokescreen for something the National Archives has taken complete responsibility for and apologized for with regard to a Freedom of Information Act request that was perfectly legal.
Well, then there was the shame on you moment. Responding to a question over job creation in the state, Cheryl attacked Chitterelli over a past report that a medical publishing company he once owned was paid millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry to create educational materials that stated there was a low risk of opioid abuse among patients with chronic pain. Cheryl appeared to blame the deaths of tens of thousands of New Jerseyans on Chitterelli for the publication and a subsequent app that his company created. To that, Chitterelli snapped back.
First of all, shame on you. Second of all,
Shame on you, sir.
shame on you. During the Biden administration, she had no problem whatsoever with tens of thousands of people crashing our border each and every day, not knowing what impact they had in our communities with regard to fentanyl crisis, fentanyl abuse, fentanyl distribution, vaccination rates, and the like. Talk to your local police, talk to your county prosecutors in New Jersey. Since the border's been secured, fentanyl crisis has decreased significantly.
Chitterelli, meanwhile, accused Cheryl of hypocrisy over the ongoing government shutdown, pointing out that under the Biden administration, Cheryl voted every time for a continuing resolution to keep open the government. Cheryl talked about how political violence, though, is dangerous for our nation.
But we've seen a continued uptick in political violence, and that is never acceptable. It really undermines, I think, our democracy and the idea that people want to come forward and serve. And I worry very much that with this kind of political violence, we are going to see people trying to step away from public life.
Well, the two also talked about energy costs in the state. Chitterelli pointing out that Cheryl's plan to deal with high energy costs was met with skepticism by the current Democrat governor and scores of Democrat New Jersey lawmakers. When asked to say something nice about each other, Cheryl praised Chitterelli's son for serving in the military, and Chitterelli praised Cheryl for her 9 years of honorable military service. The polls, meanwhile, are all over the place, with one showing Chitterelli a point ahead, another having them tied, and more recent polls showing Cheryl 2 points ahead, still within the margin of error. Our time right now is 7:43, and staying informed starts with taking care of ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally. Carving out time for self-care isn't just important, it is essential. So joining us now to talk about this is Dr. Tara Chalicani, who is the CEO of Preferred Behavioral Healthcare and co-host of the Well Off podcast. Good to have you on this morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Ken. Good to be here.
You bet. What does "you can't pour from an empty cup" mean to you, and why is that so important for everybody to keep in mind?
Well, that is our mantra that we live by at Preferred Behavioral Health Group. But essentially is you cannot take care of another person. You can't show up for work and be 100% if you are not taking care of yourself and recharging your batteries. And that looks different for a number of people. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions that people have is that there's one path to happiness. There's one path to self-care. And it doesn't mean getting a massage or doing something expensive. It could just be going outside every day on your break for lunch, breathing fresh air for 10 minutes, getting natural light on your face. It doesn't have to be anything extraordinary. And this month is Depression Awareness Month. So we want to really send the message home that we need to pay attention to how we're feeling and really take care of ourselves.
So in today's busy lifestyle, so many people have so many things going on. You have working parents with kids and pets. And so what are some simple, realistic ways that people can manage stress in their day-to-day lives?
Well, I think we need to know our limits and start by, sometimes it's as easy, Ken, as creating a schedule and sticking to it and not letting anything else distract you from that. Because I find that people feel overwhelmed. They feel they have too much on their plates. And I know myself, when I'm working with a client or a patient one-on-one, there's always something that they can give up to inject a few moments of peace into their day. Even if it's picking up a book and reading a few pages or watching something on Netflix, whatever it is that makes you happy and gets you disconnected and distracted, That's what you need to do more of, because it seems like we don't have enough time. But if you take even 10 minutes to go for a walk, call a friend that makes you laugh, it will feel as if you've added hours into your day.
Dr. Chalikani, I have to ask you about, we just had the story about politics, and I hate to drag, I'm not going to ask you politically, but in terms of politics impacting people's moods and their stresses, and you see it on the right and the left, people just going into their respective corners and not budging and saying, well, I'll never talk to that person again. And how do you talk to people about not making politics the everything in their lives and just toning it down so that people can get back to being calm and living their lives and realizing that politics has a place, but it shouldn't be the epicenter of our lives?
For sure. And I'm glad that you brought it up, because it is a timely subject. And there's so much research being done now and so much data that supports that people are feeling traumatized by politics and that it's tearing families apart and friendships. But everything has its place. And I know that a lot of people now, even my own clients, like I said, are coming in and talking about politics and how do we navigate this in our lives and our relationships. All relationships can have healthy boundaries. And I think if we communicate effectively, because that's another key element of healthy relationships and healthy mental health, is that we tell people up front, I love you, I respect you, but let's keep politics at the door. Right. And let's not bring them into holiday meals. Let's not bring them into family celebrations. The other piece is we have to go on a diet with following politics the same way we do eating sugary and salty snacks. We have to limit our exposure, know what you need to know. But I know people that are keeping the news on, whatever channel it is, whatever you follow, it's on in their homes 24/7. That's not healthy. So I think we need to put ourselves on a diet. We need to limit exposure, know what you need to know, maybe get, one email alert every day with the top news, know what you need to know to be an informed adult citizen, and then move on, because it's becoming very toxic. And we all know nothing good happens in extremes. So, whether it's politics or whether anything, extremes are never good. We need to have middle ground, and we need to be able to meet in the middle, to talk and to compromise and to do what's best for everyone involved.
Doctor, I was if I may say, a champion debater at high school. The main thing you were taught to be a champion debater is you have to listen to the other side and learn what the other side not only thinks, but how they think and how they feel and why. That makes you a better debater. And I think that's what's missing. We're yelling at each other instead of just listening. Maybe there's a very, very, very valid reason why the other person thinks entirely differently from you. Just aren't you even that curious to find out why they think that? Listen to them. And maybe even if you still at the end of the day have two totally opposite views, at least you can have the empathy of understanding, well, I get why he feels this way. I get why she feels this way. And at least you could agree to disagree and still love each other and understand that it's okay. Listen, there are lots of things I'm sure in your family you don't agree on, foods, what kind of pet you like, whatever. In my family, the same thing. It doesn't have to come down to the polarization and the hate and the cutting people out of their lives. And I'm so glad you said that to have a diet about that and just cut, like we tell kids, you have limits on your screen time. I think limits on your politics time should be the rule for adults.
For sure. And it's just as impactful and negative to our health as adults as it is for kids. Screen time, watching too much of anything. But Ken, I'm going to make you an honorary therapist, because you brought up a lot of great points that we have to approach people with curiosity and not criticism. And we have to keep that curiosity so that we can seek to understand, because miscommunication is one of the biggest reasons why people have discord and have failed relationships. And we don't want that. We want a healthy state. We want a healthy nation. But the only thing we can control is ourselves. So taking care of ourselves, going on that news diet, and approaching people with kindness and curiosity is a great start.
I should say, Dr. Tara, miscommunication was my drag name in college, but that's a whole other story, another show. So At what point do you think, doctor, though, when should, seriously, I'm sorry, I had to do that. At what point do you think people should, though, seek professional help? And I have gone, and I talked about this on the show many times, even when you've been on in the past. I've gone through therapy many times in my life. I
Mhm.
proudly talk about it. Too many people think it's shameful, and it's just ridiculous. Therapy and counseling, that shows that you I think have a more mature view of yourself and where you stand in the world, and that sometimes we all need to talk to somebody. So at what point do you think people should talk to somebody professionally?
Well, Ken, there's never a wrong time to get therapy. And it doesn't have to be because something is wrong. It could just be because you're in a great place and you want to be a better person, or you want to dig a little deeper and have a better understanding of self and people. But if that's not your story, you need to pay attention. Are you having a lot of discord, a lot of arguments, a lot of tension with people around you? Are you irritable? Are you having trouble sleeping? Is, the thoughts of politics or what have you, is it consuming you? Because remember, we never want to live in extremes. We need to stay balanced, and that means everything: diet, exercise, sleep, our relationships with others. So when in doubt, give Preferred Behavioral Health a call. We're here to serve all of New Jersey, and no one should have to suffer alone. We all could use support, and a little help goes a long way.
How do people reach out to you? What's a website or a phone number, doctor?
Website is preferredbehavioral.org. All of our information is there: phone numbers, blogs, resources. We're here to help. And like I said, when in doubt, give us a call. There's always someone a phone call away. We can answer your question, point you in the right direction, and get you where you need to be.
There you go. Well, I'm not even going to talk about when I was in high school and I played the part of misconception, but that's going to be another show. I promise we will do that
Oh.
show. Dr. Tara Chalicani, who's the CEO of Preferred Behavioral Healthcare and co-host of the Well Off podcast. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's always a treasure and a pleasure to have you on. Have a wonderful
Great
day.
to see you. Thanks, Ken.
You bet. 7:53 right now. Let's forego break if we can. I know, Pam, that puts a stack on us at the top. I'm sorry, but because of the time, let's do that. Let's go straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta, who is going to talk about an early fall that we find. Well, it's not really early. It is fall time. We should be having temps in the 40s, but Mike is going to tell us all about it. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. There is this lovely fall feel. Finally, right? It only took, 10 days into, 9 days into October to feel this nice dry fall morning. And yet a little frosty up in northern New Jersey with freeze warnings on the way for Sussex, Western Passaic, and Warren counties, even the frost advisory for later tonight in Morristown. So after today's highs climb into the upper 50s and low 60s under mostly sunny skies, those winds remain still tonight. And that still air and clear sky, along with the very low humidity, is what allows temperatures to drop so quickly. Also, the dry soil, that tends to help. With the drought continuing across northern New Jersey, that shade of tan there showing quite a bit of dry weather. 13% of normal rainfall in Hackensack, translating to a 2 to 4 inch rainfall deficit just in the last month. Haven't seen much rainfall. Still keeping an eye down toward the tropics, though. And even though our system that moves up the coast for this weekend is not tropical in nature, it does come from Florida, the Carolinas, so there is a little bit of a tropical moisture component to it. But it's a classic nor'easter when it arrives here. Cooler than average weather forecast for the middle of October, right up until the last week of October here in New Jersey. However, out west, a little bit of warmth coming in. And the dry period that we've been enduring actually transitions to maybe a little bit more of a slightly wetter period. At least we see that this weekend on the 7-day forecast, with all of that rain coming in for Sunday into Monday with that nor'easter. A lot of wind at the coast, gusts of 50, 60 miles per hour down the shore, making for some very rough surf and, of course, beach erosion with an easterly wind, some coastal flooding likely too. By Tuesday and Wednesday, it all clears out. The system is slow to depart, so it's going to be a very long, prolonged system that could give us 2 to 4 inches of rain, especially along the coast and down the shore, maybe upwards of 2 to 3 inches up north, which is good because it would end a lot of our drought. We need more than one system in order to do that, but having the rainfall all across those 3 days, some much needed wet weather after a very dry finish to summer, Ken.
All right. So as of right now, the Columbus Day Parade is still on in East Hanover right now. They didn't say that there would be a rain date, but we'll find out. In case that changes, we'll of course put it on our website on ONNJ.com. So, and I'm sure the Chamber of Commerce and everyone else will have that listed. But we hope it goes one way or the other. We hope Mother Nature says, "All right, let's let the paisans," and everybody's a paisan on Sunday. Let's hope the paisans could have their Columbus Day Parade. We'll see what happens. Thank you very much, Mike. We appreciate you as always, sir. It is a chilly 46 degrees right now in Trenton. It's 44 in northern New Jersey, 43 down the shore in Cape May. In terms of traffic, look at the Garden State Parkway. We have a crash on the GSP southbound now north of exit 132. And that's causing, it looks just like volume here, but they're about half a mile from the crash point. So it's a crash on the Garden State Parkway southbound north of exit 132, Route 27 and Woodbridge with the center lane blocked. And that's what the people who are heading away from you on the right side are heading into as they just get out of that picture. So they're about to go into that mess. Let's go also, well, we have another Garden State Parkway we don't have a camera for. There's a crash on the Garden State Parkway southbound north of exit 144 in Newark, Route 510. The right shoulder is blocked there. Now the Hudson River crossings, the Lincoln and Holland tunnels right now are both reporting 25-minute crossover times. And the GWB, oh, wait, before we talk about that, you could show it, Pam. It's okay. There's a crash on Route 22 that just popped up westbound east of Bloy Street in Hillside Township with the left lane of the two lanes closed. Have to tell you that just popped up. Now, we have a disabled tractor trailer on the GWB upper level eastbound midspan with the right lane blocked. That's what you're seeing on the right. See how the right side is stopped dead? That's because of what I just told you about. So there's a disabled tractor trailer, GWB upper level eastbound. So you see the lower level on the left is moving better. Definitely, if you must take the GWB, take the lower level, not the upper, because of that disabled tractor trailer right in the midspan. It's going to probably take about 15 to 30 minutes to get that cleared. There you have it. It is 7:58, and we got lots more on New Jersey Mornings when we come back, so we hope you don't go anyplace. In fact, when we come back, it's the annual Montclair Zombie Walk. It's lurching back into town, and it is bigger, bloodier, gorier, and better than ever. Sunny and cooler today, highs about 60. The full Garden State forecast when we return, and we will take your calls. 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings, and we are coming right back.
Bergen Equestrian in Leonia is the top destination for horse riding, lessons, and exceptional horse boarding facilities on over 23 acres in Overpeck Park. Bergen Equestrian has programs for people of all ages and skill sets, indoor and outdoor riding areas, and a riding lounge. Riders can compete in horse shows and special events. Bergen Equestrian offers horse boarding and rentals, seasonal kids camps, and more. Consider Bergen Equestrian for unforgettable memories with kids' birthday parties, private events, weddings, and school trips. Visit BergenEquestrian.com.
Good morning. It is 8 a.m. Thursday, October 9th, 2025. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Phone lines are open at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Sunny and cooler today, highs about 60. Chilly right now, though, 46 degrees in Trenton. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Mike, this is definitely a open the door to walk the dog and go, ooh, ooh, kind of a morning.
Yeah, there's a chill. There's a chill in the air. You step outside and go, brrr, especially tomorrow morning, with it being 10 or 11 degrees cooler than it is right now. Probably go sub-freezing in some areas. Get down into the low 30s up in northern New Jersey. So real chill on the way. Hey, but the good news is we're dry and we're sunny through this afternoon into tomorrow. A whole lot of clear sky right now in Sussex. 45 is your temperature at 8 a.m. 56 down the shore in Long Branch, 46 back over toward Toms River. We've warmed up a touch, but we're still 18 to 22 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. So certainly cooler, especially with the dry air. A lot of clear sky around. We stay nice and dry through this afternoon. A little bit of a breeze through the morning, but that wind relaxes and stays nice and dry into the afternoon and overnight. By tomorrow, we'll likely see a little bit of a wind shift from the north and then starting to blow in from the east. And that wind pushes in a little bit more of a cloudier scene across New Jersey. So we'll end the day tomorrow with cloudy skies and then bring back kind of an overcast feel on Saturday with a potential for some light spotty showers. That's in advance of all of the rain that comes in for Sunday. Look at the futurecast showing heavy rain coming in throughout the morning, especially down the shore just around daybreak. And the worst of it with the shades of yellow here entering the picture throughout 7 or 8 a.m. So the steady showers get going. This will be accompanied by very gusty winds, and it stays wet throughout the day on Sunday with a lot of wind, especially at the coast, gusts upwards of 50 or 60 miles per hour, thanks to that coastal storm just offshore. So a lot of power here with that system in terms of wind and waves at the shore. Throughout the next few days, we're dry today, dry tomorrow, Saturday, cloudy, and then the rain comes in on Sunday, lasting throughout Monday even. So it's this prolonged wet weather event that gives us a good soaking. How much rain? Well, we'll tell you in your next weather update right here on New Jersey. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. We got a lot of traffic to talk about right now. Let's take a look at the Garden State Parkway. This is Garden State Parkway southbound, north of exit 132, Route 27. In fact, Pam, I'm going to ask you to bring some up live on the air for us, if you don't mind. If you go to the Garden State, you know what? Yeah, Garden State Parkway, please. If you could pull up the same camera shot that we had before, the 133.1 south of Colonia service area, we'll show you what that's about. So that is 133.1 south of Colonia service area. So you see that on the right. Thank you, Pam. On the right side, those cars are headed into what we have. It's about a half a mile from the crash. It is southbound north of exit 132, Route 27 in Woodbridge Township with a center lane block. And that is just causing, you can see volume and some brake checking here. But as you come up on it, this is going to build until this is taken care of. We also have a disabled bus on the Turnpike outer roadway northbound exit ramp interchange 14 by 1 and 9 in Newark with the left lane blocked. Back to the GSP, we have a crash on the Garden State southbound north of exit 144, Route 510 in Newark with the right shoulder block. Hudson River Crossings, Lincoln is reporting 25 to 30 minutes. It's 15 to 20 at the Holland. And we have a mess now at the GWB, upper level specifically, and that's because of a disabled tractor trailer in the mid-span of the bridge, which means they have to go from the Manhattan side backwards and with heavy tow, pull that disabled tractor trailer into Manhattan. In the meantime, you can see on the right side, the upper level is absolutely stopped. People trying to sneak by on that leftmost lane of the right side there. They're not going to get very far because there's nowhere to go. A span is closed right now while they fix that. And the lower level now, you can see people trying to squeeze over and take that. So GWB is now reporting 45 to 60 minutes across. It's going to be an absolute mess making your way into Manhattan. It is 8:04. Get ready, Montclair. The undead are rising again. And no, we're not talking about the candidates for governor. The annual Montclair Zombie Walk is lurching back into town Saturday afternoon, October 18th. It'll be bigger, bloodier, and better than ever. Coordinated by East Side Mags, this year's event features professional makeup artists, spooky merch from Indie Arts Montclair, a crowd of creepy walkers, and the return of the one and only Mr. Haunt for a costume contest that no one will want to miss. Jeff Beck is owner of East Side Mags. He joins us now with more. Good morning, you creepy dude, you.
Hey, how's it going, Ken?
Good, Jeff. I love this. Halloween is so fun, and I love the fact that you guys totally embrace it and make it something for the whole community. Because it's no matter where you stand politically, no matter what, just come out and have a damn good time. I love this. So this is on the 18th, 5:30 p.m. sharp at Montclair Center. How did you start the Montclair Zombie Walk?
Greg Payson from Indie Arts Montclair came to me and came up with the idea, and then we just started spitballing, and the next thing we knew, we had makeup artists, people were showing up. We started with probably about 20 people or so, and now we've grown to easily over 60 or 70 people annually who come out, and every year it just gets bigger and bigger.
I love it. So now, what's new or different about this year's event? What did you change?
Well, not much. It's still the same. We've got makeup artists who come in from 2 to 5:15 ish. We can do makeup for everybody. Scheduling's available at eastsidemags.com under the events tab. You can schedule your makeup appointment with one of 4 professional makeup artists. At 5:30, we congregate. I say a few words. I thank everybody for coming out, and then we walk around Montclair, downtown Montclair, and terrorize the neighborhood, spooking restaurant folks and walking through the Claridge Theater, down Church Street, up Bloomfield Ave. We have a whole route that we do. And then we come back. Mr. Haunt judges our costume contest for kids, teens, and adults. And then this year, special, we have Notorious BBQ, who's going to be serving up what they call zombols, which is your choice of pulled pork, brisket, or portobello mushroom, topped with their slaw and world famous signature barbecue sauce.
You say it's pulled pork, but it might be bodies. I'm just saying. You
I
have
hope not.
the makeup is only $5 too, right? That's a great deal. So they'll give you
Yeah.
a few minutes in the chair, a professional makeup artist for $5. That's like unheard of. How did you even find people who would do that? That's great.
We're really lucky to have such good friends and such a great community supporting us that everybody just wants to be a part of it. And we're happy to bring anybody in who's willing to help us out.
So Jeff, did you have to go to like all of the restaurants and let them know in case some people come in all creeped out and dressed up, don't freak out, don't call the police. This is part of what we're doing today. Does everybody have to be on the same page?
Absolutely not. We don't tell it. I mean, we advertise, so I'm sure the businesses know what's going on, but we don't really announce that we're coming. We just kind of wander through. And I'd like to reinforce that we are Night of the Living Dead zombies, not 28 Days Later zombies. So we're meandering and stumbling and walking as we go through town, not running at top speed, and we are conscious of traffic laws and red lights, walking signs, stop signs. We don't want anybody to have an accident. So we're safe zombies, Night of the Living Dead zombies.
We want the zombies to live another day to say brains, right? That's the goal here. We want you to be
Absolutely.
around.
And it's
So
super
what's the
kid
route?
friendly.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Oh, it's good to say it's kid friendly. Families are welcome. Everybody's welcome because we are safe zombies.
So what is the route that you're going to have everybody take, Jeff?
So we're going to start at the shop, which is at 491 Bloomfield Ave. We walk up Bloomfield Ave to about Midland Ave, where we wait for the traffic sign to agree with us, and we cross the street, come back down Bloomfield Ave. We take a right onto South Park Street, a left onto Church Street, and usually we cut through the Claridge Theater lobby area, spooking all the restaurant folks and the moviegoers. We go down Church Street. Sometimes we split up just to cover more ground and then head back to the shop. It's not a super long walk because we do get a lot of kids and families who come with us. So, we don't want to tire anybody out too much because we still have the costume contest and delicious food waiting for us when we get back.
Nice. Do you have any spooky stories in the Claridge Theater, like it's haunted or something like that? Because to me, it's such a great old theater, even if it's not necessarily 100% true. It would be very cool to hear a story like, this is where a bunch of bodies were found in 1836 or something like that.
That's a pretty good idea. I mean, they've done a lot of renovations, so they might have spooked all the ghosts away with the upgraded seating and the upgraded equipment and the new lobby area. But maybe we can come up with something in time for next week when we launch the Zombie Walk on October 18th.
Hey, I'm happy to help with that. I'll help put something together for you. But yeah, the Claridge, for those who haven't checked it out, the Claridge is a phenomenal place to see a show. It's a very intimate setting to see a musical act. It's just a treasure in Montclair for those who've never been there. What kind of merch do you have? Indie Arts Montclair is bringing all sorts of great merch, right? And where do the proceeds go?
Indie Arts Montclair does a fantastic job of putting together T-shirts. We've got this one from last year. I don't know how many of these are left, but they have a brand new design that they launched for this year that we have displayed in our shop. T-shirts are $20. You pay Indie Arts Montclair directly, and 100% of the proceeds go to Indie Arts Montclair.
Very cool. And what is the costume contest all about? You briefly touched on it before. So what could people win, and what's a good idea? I mean, what should they do to go all out to win this costume contest?
So we do 3 rounds of costume contests, one for kids, one for teens, one for adults. We encourage people to come in costume and then allow our zombie makeup artists to zombify them. And then we judge the costume contest at the end, and they can win gift cards, action figures, comic packs, all kinds of cool stuff.
That is so fun. And for people that don't, a lot of people, they're so busy with their day-to-day lives, they don't think about what it means to be part of civics and part of a community. And it's stuff like this that makes a town like Montclair, which is such an awesome place, an epicenter for fun and all things. I mean, it's such a great entertainment town. You have musical acts, you have movie theaters, you have nightclubs, and great restaurants. You have the comics. There's so many great things in Montclair, and this just is another jewel in the crown for reasons to come into this wonderful community. What's a website for people to get more information and the full schedule for the event details?
Eastsidemags.com. That's the hub for everything. We just launched a new website. We've got a new web store with tons of products available. All of our events are listed there. Our Dungeons and Dragons games that we run every week. Our drawing classes for kids on Saturday morning. You can check out all the information, sign up for a subscription list for your favorite comics, and get updates through our Instagram live feed.
Jeff, how long have you been there? How long has Eastside Mags been there?
We've been in town for, as of this month, actually, going on 11 years and counting.
Wow, that's fantastic. Good for you. I mean, again, at a time when you think everything is digital, everything's online, people love the tactile and the comic book collection. And I mean, this is what makes it fun. And I thank you and great folks like you in Montclair that make Montclair such a special place. This is so awesome that you're doing this. The annual Montclair Zombie Walk, Saturday afternoon, October 18th. It's at Montclair Center. That's where it kicks off. Jeff Beck, owner of East Side Mags and a true Montclarian. Thank you for joining us this morning, sir. It is always good to have you on.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it.
You bet. Have fun, too. It is 8:13. When we come back, do you love the great outdoors? We're going to be speaking with a woman who makes climbing her life, and she turns it into a way to help women battle cancer. In terms of weather, it's going to feel like fall for sure. Sunny and cooler, highs only around 60. The full Garden State forecast when we return. Just for the record, right now it's only 49 degrees in Trenton. You are watching ONNJ Mornings, and we are streamed daily on Roku, Fire TV, News On, Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, Facebook, and X. And now we're streamed live on Substack, Rumble, and Twitch. Just go to twitch.tv/ONNJ. 8:14 is our time. We'll be back in a minute.
To move into clean power. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg, but if you're a good person, you'll do it.
Unbelievable. Talk about out of touch. I'm Jack Chitterelli. Politicians like Mikey Sherrill and Phil Murphy just don't get it. They're making New Jersey unaffordable, especially for the middle class. We need a change. My plan brings down property taxes, lowers electricity bills, and cuts your income taxes. Because you should keep more of what you earn. It's time to fix New Jersey. When I'm governor, we will.
A very good morning. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings for your Thursday. It is 8:15, sunny and cooler, highs about 60. And boy, what a busy news day. For those who haven't been keeping up, we have two major stories today. We're not going to go to them right now, but just to let you know, for those just waking up, big gubernatorial debate last night. It was on Channel 7 in the New York area, Channel 6 in the Philly area. both ABC. Mikey Sherrill and Jack Chitterelli, big debate, and it got fiery last night with some accusations being hurled back and forth. We talked about that earlier. We'll talk more about that as the morning show progresses. Also, it looks like President Trump may have brokered a peace deal between Gaza and Israel in the Middle East. It looks like Monday all the hostages are going to be released, and this could literally change, bring everybody around the corner. Hopefully, have some Middle East peace, and we'll see if the Palestinian protesters continue at this point, because if there's free Palestine, then you don't need to chant it anymore. So we'll see if these protesters go get another job, because most of them are paid. We've had the people who pay them on our show, but nonetheless, we'll see what happens in the weeks ahead. So there's a lot of news happening. 8:16 is our time. Sunny, cooler, highs about 60. Meteorologist Mike Favetta now with a full Garden State forecast, and busy weather-wise as well. Good morning to you, Mike.
Yeah, big swings. Good morning to you, Ken. We start off today with a cool breeze, but it's the freeze warning in northern New Jersey, shaded in purple there for western Passaic, Sussex, and Warren counties for tomorrow morning. Have to bring the sensitive plants in if they're out. Even the frost advisory for the county shaded in light blue, but the mint green down along the coast, that's the coastal flooding potential that lasts through Monday for a lot of rain that comes in with our nor'easter this weekend, and the wind too, with those gusts coming in off of the water at 40 to 50, maybe even 60 miles per hour, causing some flooding and beach erosion. 2 to 4 inches of rain on top of that. So a lot of rainfall there with the area shaded in yellow, maybe 1 to 2 for the rest of the state. So quite a bit of wet weather, most of it beginning Sunday afternoon and then lasting into Monday. But I think the heaviest hit again will be at the coast. As we look at the clouds picture today, we are dry and we are clear. So central New Jersey starts chilly but warms into the low 60s under mostly sunny skies. It'll feel lovely in the sunshine today, nice and warm when you're walking on the sunny side of the street, but it's that dry air. As soon as you step into the shade, it's freezing. That's the kind of weather today. Lots of clear sky, the high pressure doing its job, keeping all the clouds out to sea, and we'll stay nice and dry through tonight into tomorrow. Look at these dew points, very low, very dry air in place until tomorrow afternoon, when an easterly breeze takes over, and that will bring a little bit more moisture into our air, allowing for that rain to get going, probably as some light spotty sprinkles on Saturday afternoon, but it's really Sunday into Monday that the worst of the weather will be upon us. You see this kind of the spin here just offshore as that storm comes into New Jersey and then drifts out to sea, delivering quite a bit of rain and wind. Again, this is rain we really need coming during the Sunday, Monday timeframe, especially with Monday being the holiday, many school districts off. So we'll keep all of that clear sky around through tomorrow afternoon before the clouds get going for this weekend. Mostly cloudy skies on Saturday, high of 69, and then 62 degrees with a pretty gusty wind and rain throughout the day on Sunday. We'll time more of the storm out for you coming up with another check of your weather forecast, Ken, in a few minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. It's chilly, 49 degrees right now in Trenton. It's 47 degrees northern New Jersey and 46 degrees down in Cape May, 47 in Vineland, New Jersey. And as we look at traffic, we have a crash reported Route 82 eastbound by North Avenue in Union Township. 2 left lanes of the 4 lanes are closed. Over to the Garden State Parkway right now, we have a crash southbound north of exit 132, Route 27 in Woodbridge Township. The people on the right there headed right into that area as they round the bend there. The right shoulder is blocked. That's causing some delays. And in terms of your Hudson River crossings right now, the Lincoln is reporting 25 to 30 minutes. Holland is now 20 to 25 minutes. And the GWB still has a mess. Mid-span, eastbound, upper level. You still have a disabled tractor trailer that has to be pulled off to the Manhattan side. That's causing the upper level, which is the group of trucks on the right, to have a lot of delays going over. So right now we're talking 45 to 50 minutes, upper or lower side. Lower is on the left, upper on the right, making your way into Manhattan. 8:20 is our time. For many, climbing is a sport, but for some, it becomes a lifeline. Anissa Lucina, who is the founder of Genuine Climbing, knows that firsthand through outdoor retreats and guided experiences. Her organization empowers women, particularly those affected by cancer, to reconnect with their strength, confidence, and community through climbing. She joins us now to share the story behind Genuine Climbing and how viewers can help support this life-changing work. Good morning to you, Anissa.
Hi, Ken. How's it going?
Nice to have you on. Tell us about what made you start Genuine Climbing.
Yeah, so I've always loved climbing. I've been a climber for about 15 years now and always enjoyed it as a sport, but also enjoyed it as a way to help me feel strong and connected. And then 3 years ago, I got diagnosed with breast cancer and returned to the cliff and just found it to be super healing and helped me get through my treatment, my recovery, and continues to kind of help me get a sense of self during all the struggles that go along with cancer treatment and survivorship. So as I continue to climb as a cancer survivor, I wanted to give this gift to other women. So with that, founded Genuine Climbing, that we offer free rock climbing retreats to any woman in any stage of cancer recovery or treatment, and give them an opportunity to come climbing with us in upstate New York and give them a sense of that empowerment themselves so that they could see what it's all about.
So why is climbing so helpful for women affected by cancer? Is it that you really have to put all of your focus on what you're doing at that moment, so it kind of keeps your mind off of other things, or because it allows you to overcome challenges? Is that what that's about?
Yeah, it's all of that. For one, exactly what you said, you have to be focused in that movement at that moment. So it shifts your attention away from the disease and lets you really just focus on yourself and what you need. And then it's just the connection to being outside and being in nature. Climbing gives back what cancer takes away. One of the biggest struggles that I know that I felt that a lot of other women feel is we lose our trust in our bodies, right? And we feel this disconnection with ourselves. We forget what we're capable of. And so when we get to go climbing and have that connection with the rock, we slowly regain this trust in ourselves. And it could be really powerful and transformational. It's not even always about like getting to the top. It's about what we're learning in the process. And it slowly gives us the trust in ourselves again after going through these treatments and surgeries and everything else that goes along with cancer. So it's a really amazing way for survivors to, regain that trust and make friends with themselves again.
And when you think about it, cancer sort of presents a life or death situation for people, and so does hanging onto a rock for dear life. It's about you overcoming the life and death moment, right? You're holding on to that. You let go, you could slip and you could end your life, but it's up to you to hold on and overcome that. And it's sort of, there is a definite parallel between the two.
Sure. Yeah. And it's about, trusting yourself, trusting your partner who has the other end of the rope for you, your belayer, community, survivorship. It's about all those things. It's, one of the things that make our retreats so powerful as well is just the support of the community. All the women there have gone through a similar struggle. There's that unspoken understanding when people arrive, like they don't need to explain necessarily what they've gone through. It's that subtle look of recognition that everybody already knows what they've gone through. And that support and community makes it even more powerful.
Just the idea that you're all on the same page, because I'm sure it must be challenging when you have cancer and you're being treated for cancer, that you tell your story, but unless somebody encountered it and experienced it, the other person just can't grasp the seriousness and the gravity. And after a while, you feel like they don't get it. And that's not to be disrespectful to somebody else you're telling it to, right? But
No.
unless you understand how serious it is, they just can't grasp it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had several women at our retreats comment exactly that. They said, I've never been in a room with people that just understood immediately. I mean, of course, people could be sympathetic and empathetic and understanding, but to really have that look where you could just make eye contact with somebody and just have that quiet nod of recognition and not have to explain why you're crying or explain why suddenly you're very emotional or explain why you're afraid, can be really strong in that kind of community.
And then I'm sure this helps them form a bond, a network with other friends, people who become friends through these experiences, so that they could talk about their treatments and their doctors and things like that, that they otherwise wouldn't be given that kind of chance to be introduced to other people who are going through different treatments, maybe getting treated in different parts of the state or different parts of the country. This is just a brilliant idea of networking women who have the same challenge, if you will, and the bond of sisterhood and the struggles and whatnot. It's just a brilliant idea. Do you find people leaving these retreats with friends for life?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And women come from all over the country, including Canada, to come to these retreats. They leave with lifelong friends. We continue to stay in touch even afterwards and connect. So they leave with lifelong friends and a renewed sense of trust in themselves, which is a really powerful thing as well. So it's nice to have that connection, and we're planning reunions to get together again because everyone's just so excited to see each other again.
Anissa, do you have a specific story that shows how the program has helped people? Like a very specific story that you could recall without saying names?
Yeah, one woman came to our retreat. She was actually undergoing chemotherapy at the time, really concerned if she could even, climb a little bit, and she came to the top of the cliff and she was just overwhelmed with emotion. And, she said it literally changed her life. She felt that if she could get through chemotherapy and if she could make it to the top of the cliff, that she felt that she could really accomplish anything in life. So it's just amazing to know that she could call on that experience for the rest of her life and know that if she could get to the top of the cliff, that she could accomplish anything. And that's really powerful to know that's an experience that she could hold on to for the rest of her life, going through any other obstacles or any other struggles in her life, and know that she can do it.
And what challenges, or are there unique challenges that women face in outdoor spaces, and how does genuine climbing help?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that we make it super accessible. As I said, all of our retreats are completely free to our participants. We want to make it so that anybody that, needs these experiences have it accessible to them. And so that's one of the best ways that we can make these programs available to everybody, is by taking away any financial barriers that are out there. So all they need to do is get to our retreat center, and everything is completely free. All the lodging, all the food, all the climbing instruction from our certified guides, everything, all the climbing gear. So that's a way that we can make it really easy easy for people to show up and come, at least from that point of view. They just need to have the courage and faith to apply and know that they're in good hands once they arrive.
And what is a website for people to get more information?
Yeah, absolutely. It's genuineclimbing.org. That's where participants can come and apply for one of our free retreats. And also other ways that people could get involved is we actually are hosting our annual breast cancer awareness fundraiser at Goat Climbing Gym in Hackensack, New Jersey. That's on October 23rd. And it's a great event also for newer climbers or people that have never climbed before. It's at an indoor gym, so a lot, less scary, but it's perfect for families. It's perfect for newer climbers. We're definitely going to show you the ropes, so to speak. And it's a great way for people to come and get involved, see a little bit more what we're about, and support us in our mission.
Anissa Lucena, founder of Genuine Climbing, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your stories.
Thanks, Ken. Thank you so much.
You bet. You bet. Have a great day. 8:30 right now, chilly, 49 degrees. And when we come back, he's been called the Republican congressional candidate to watch, and he's running in New Jersey's 9th congressional district. Billy Prempeh will join us to talk about last night's fiery gubernatorial debate and his own campaign for Congress. Sunny and cooler today, highs about 60. The full Garden State forecast when we return, and we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We're coming right back.
Our Stable Life, New Jersey's first equine wellness center. Are you or a loved one suffering from PTSDs, trauma, or life challenges? Consider non-riding equine therapy, where the soul is touched by the presence of a horse with a certified counselor. Our Stable Life is a non-profit at Bergen Equestrian Center in Leonia, New Jersey. We partner with individuals, groups, and agencies to help people recover from addiction, trauma, phobias, and more. Explore equine therapy for healing. BergenEquestrianCenter.com.
Hello, good morning to you. It's 8:31 Thursday, October 9th. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings, 49 degrees. I'm Ken Rosato. Phone lines are open at 888-658-0234. Sunny and cooler. Highs only about 60. Yes, it's fall. That's the way it works. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Yeah, I got to get the extra layers out for this morning, especially by tomorrow morning. It will be another 10 degrees cooler. You know, we woke up this morning to temperatures 25 degrees cooler than they were yesterday. And there's nothing but sunshine across New Jersey, just in thin clouds out there along the coast. But beyond that, we'll stay nice and dry today with highs that will climb back into the low 60s. Remember, yesterday we started in the low 70s down the shore. So a big change, and also the dry feel, making it feel quite lovely, especially with our average high usually getting to about 69 degrees. So we're a little bit cooler than that through this afternoon. Sunset, that's the one to watch. 6:25 is now we're losing about 3 to 4 minutes of daylight per day this time of year. So that's sun setting earlier and earlier. There's the front offshore, but keeping an eye toward the tropics as Tropical Storm Jerry, forecast to turn into a hurricane, stays out to sea, not anticipated to make any landfall, and with that turning up to the north and to the right, missing Bermuda. So that's some good news according to the Hurricane Center. Our forecast here in New Jersey has a little bit of tropical moisture of its own by Sunday. First, we get the easterly breeze tomorrow, which brings in a little more cloud cover by the end of the day. That keeps temperatures in the 50s only and makes it feel quite cool on Saturday, with a lot of cloud cover around limited sunshine for the start of the weekend, but more of an easterly breeze throughout the day. Then as we head into the end of the day on Sunday, that's what brings back the heavy rain and wind. So here's the high pressure, keeping it nice and clear throughout tomorrow and early Saturday. Then the clouds come in, and you can see this moisture coming up the coast. This is our nor'easter that delivers a lot of wind and rain throughout the day on Sunday, and even lingers into Monday with that wind persisting through the first part of next week. So it's a slow moving system that gives us a lot of wet weather for the second half of the weekend, and even keeps the showers around into Monday. So there's our 2 days of rain, Sunday and Monday. 7-day forecast has clearing by Tuesday and Wednesday, but it takes time for ultimately all of that wet weather to clear out. It's a good soaking, even down the shore, where you tap into some of that rain as soon as Saturday, and then even more rainfall, up to 2 to 4 inches by the time all of the wet weather pulls out by Tuesday down the shore, and then we're back to clearing come the middle of next week. So a lot of rain coming over the next several days. And of course, the coastal flooding, the beach erosion, the gusty winds, all of that plays into it down the shore especially. I think that's where the most impact, Ken, will be felt.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you, Mike. 8:34 is our time, and it is a chilly 49 degrees in Trenton, 47 in northern New Jersey, and we have a mess on the roadways right now. Let's go to 287. This is by Route 27. There is a crash blocking the left lane. Look at that right there. It's amazing when the traffic cam is right where the crash is. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. But nonetheless, that is causing delays on 287. And there are a lot of delays on 287. That's just one of them. But this is southbound by just north of exit 2, Route 27 in Edison. Again, the left lane closed due to that crash you see. We have a crash on the Garden State Parkway southbound, south of exit 136, which is Stiles Street in Cranford Township with the right lane blocked, and an outside agency assist on the New Jersey Turnpike westbound exit ramp interchange 8 by Route 33 East Windsor. All lanes closed to traffic until 8 p.m. Do you hear that? That is New Jersey Turnpike westbound exit ramp by interchange 8, Route 33 in East Windsor. You cannot get off that exit ramp because of some issue there. And they're saying when they have to call in an outside agency, that means it's not going to be a quick fix. That's why it's going to be a mess until 8 tonight. Back to the Garden State, we have a crash on the GSP southbound north of exit 132, Route 27 in Woodbridge. And we go over to our Hudson River crossings. It's currently 30 minutes at the Lincoln, 25 minutes at the Holland. GWB upper and lower level still have a bit of a mess with a disabled tractor trailer on the George Washington Bridge, upper level eastbound by Midspan and Fort Lee with 2 right lanes blocked. So let's take a look at the GWB crossover point. You'll see that mess. On the right side is the upper level. They are just jammed, as you can see. It's going to cost you 45 to 60 minutes if you're making your way to Manhattan on the GWB. 8:36 is our time. He is a veteran and a proud New Jersey resident. He's being called the Republican congressional candidate to watch. Billy Premp is running in New Jersey's 9th congressional district. He's here this morning to talk about last night's final gubernatorial debate and his own congressional campaign. And we welcome Billy Premp. Good morning to you, Billy.
Good morning, Ken. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Did you catch the debate last night? I had my popcorn ready.
Absolutely. And I think after last night's debate, I can say without a doubt, I am even more confident in Jack's victory coming in November, even more so than I was at the previous debate.
I'm with you. You know, not for anything, but the one point where Mikey Sherrill basically said that Jack Ciattarelli is guilty of murdering tens of thousands of New Jersey residents. I mean, not only was it not well explained on her part, so that watching you're like, what the hell are you talking about? She literally like throws a curveball, and you think, I mean, I'm a journalist. I didn't know what she was talking about. I had to look it up. I'm like, what is she saying? So you have to know the background. The Jack Ciattarelli, one of the companies he had, he's a CPA by training. One of the companies he had published publications for medical, pharmaceutical companies, et cetera. And she was trying to make the point that he published some guidance for opioids that basically said they were less addictive than they actually were. All right, can you follow all of that? Right there alone, that took me a minute to try to explain. Can you imagine trying to tell the average voter on the street who's worried about getting their kid to school and what? And she's saying that because of that, that somehow Jack Ciattarelli, is responsible for the death personally of tens of thousands of New Jersey residents. It's a tough sell.
Well, you know, the thing that's funny about that is whenever they don't have any substance to deliver, they'll start hurling insults and making other reasons as to why they're going to paint the other person as the bad guy. I think the reality is that her plan for energy in this state is going to not only cause gas prices and energy prices to go through the roof, but the previous governor has already not seen a good vision of it in the same way that they've been doing already. So I think that what's happening under the position she's trying to push forward, I think it's going to lead to even more hardship across the state that we could actually see and pinpoint where it's coming from. I mean, the previous administration's already not on board with it.
Yeah, well put, Billy. I mean, you have Governor Murphy, who, you know, you notice that she doesn't include him in much of her campaigning. You don't see any Governor Murphy support for Mikey Sherrill or vice versa. But Governor Murphy even said, Mikey, you can't really do what you're saying that you want to do in terms of energy. And the Democrats in the state legislature are not behind her on this. So how does she think she has the power to somehow on day one change energy when it's her party that caused the energy crisis in New Jersey by forcing the shutdown of 6 energy plants?
Well, the reality is she doesn't, because I can tell you that seeing the way that she's moved lockstep with the Democratic Party already, I can guarantee that as soon as she gets in, she's not going to turn her back on that same party that helped get her there to begin with. And like you said, the reason why she's not campaigning or showing off Governor Murphy is the same way that she wouldn't show off Kamala or Joe Biden. They just are leaving a very terrible taste in the mouths of a lot of people across America, especially here in the state of New Jersey, where President Trump was very close to flipping the state overall. We've seen the trends. There's more Democrats that are leaving the party for the Republican Party than there are Republicans doing that in reverse. And we're all across the state helping to get people registered. And I think that this is going to be a very, very positive victory. I think everyone's seen front and center what her policy plan is. There is no policy plan. She just flew a helicopter. That's about all she could really tell you for the most part.
And with all due respect to her, and you're a veteran, a proud military veteran yourself, and you know, she served 9 years. God bless her, and thank you to her and her husband for serving in the military, and that's honorable. But of course, then it harkens back to the fact that she made the whole epicenter of every one of her campaigns, from when she ran for Congress to now that she's running for governor 5 years later, she keeps talking about the fact that she was a naval helicopter pilot. Okay, thank you for that service, but don't you have 5 years of congressional experience to talk about? You notice that in any of her ads, she hasn't said word one about her 5 years in Congress so far. All she keeps talking about is, 20 years ago, I was a helicopter pilot. And I think that's why she's so sensitive about the fact that, that the Freedom of Information Act uncovered the fact that there was some question about the honor of her not turning in her classmates who cheated.
Yeah, and at this point, I'm starting to believe that she had a lot more to do with it than just quoting or claiming that she didn't want to rat out some of her shipmates. I'm starting to believe that there's probably a lot more to that story, but that's neither here nor there. Just watching her wiggle on stage and avoid straightforward and direct questions proved enough. She tried to make the leaking of the documents the issue of Jack Ciattarelli, when at the end of the day, all he did was made a request, which is totally legal for anybody to do. That's a failure that falls on the federal government on that end and not necessarily him. Mm-hmm. But rather than answering that question directly, she instead shifted around and made him, you're the bad guy for doing this, rather than just straight up coming clean and saying, hey, listen, I'm the transparent candidate in this race. This is what you guys have seen. Here's the full story. And if it's not as bad or as crazy as she says, then I think everybody would have a little bit more leniency to some of the things that are coming out of her mouth. But instead, trying to paint it like, well, woe is me, you guys are bullying me, it just makes her even harder to trust than people already did before.
Yeah. Yeah, and Billy, a couple of weeks ago on WOR radio, I had a gentleman call in who said, I was filling in over there, and the gentleman said that he was a graduate of the Naval Academy. And when he made the following comment, I thought he was trying to correct me. He was trying to reinforce what I was saying. This is what he said. He said, it is not part of the honor code at the Naval Academy to turn in people who cheat. Instead, you have an option. You could approach them and say, hey, you should really turn yourselves in. You could turn them in, but you're not obliged to. What he was saying by that was that it's not that she didn't walk because that she was required to turn them in, implying there is something deeper there, which is something that Jack Ciattarelli brought up last night. So the whole point is she was not obliged to turn in the people who she knew cheated. So therefore, why did she still not walk? That's Jack Ciattarelli's point. Come clean with it. And that's something that in the beginning, I think many people did not understand. They thought that, she didn't walk because she didn't turn in her classmates. No, Ciattarelli pointed out, and this other Naval Academy grad pointed out, there is something more, because you are not obliged to turn in your fellow classmates. So why didn't you walk?
Well, if it walks like a duck and it's shaped like a duck, there's a very high possibility that it's a duck. And I think the same goes with Mikey Sherrill. It's like just like how she was hiding the stock trades that her and her husband were doing. We recently found out her husband was also a part of that cheating scandal. I believe, and this is just a conspiracy that I can't prove, but based off of the information I've seen thus far, and I've seen the way she's tried to shift away from taking any accountability or at least being transparent with it, I believe that she likely did do something more than that, because no one gets in trouble for telling the truth or refraining to tell the truth of what they witnessed. Nobody's compelled to do that. So for her to bring that up and say that was a disciplinary action, and as being someone who's been in the military, who has gotten in trouble before in the past and knows others that have gotten in trouble before in the past, that's not how it goes down. I'm pretty sure there's more that happened.
And Billy, there was just a survey that came out. Actually, CNN talked about it day before yesterday, about the fact that a year ago it looked like the generic poll of all people running for Congress, it looked like it was tied 0, that there would be no gains or losses if the election were held a year ago. Today, it looks like it's basically the same, that at best, Democrats might get 1 point or 2 points. But usually for midterms, it's usually 10 points in the favor of the party that's not in power. So how do you think that bodes for people like yourself running for Congress for next year?
I think it still bodes well for myself regardless. We're making significant gains here in the 9th District, here in Passaic County, especially. We're seeing a lot of people leave the Democratic Party and come over to the Republican Party in droves. A victory for Jack Ciattarelli across the state also would translate even more so that this state is a lot redder than people think. This district is a lot redder than people think. And I talk to people every time I'm out in the streets or I'm out at events, people that I know for a fact were not Republicans at any point or couldn't even empathize with the conservative values. Too many crazy things have happened in the past 7 months. And the Democratic Party has put forth a bunch of candidates that sound like they're going to be a great candidate or a great person. But when it really comes time to put pedal to the metal, they instead rubber stamp and do the same thing that everyone else in the party does that doesn't really represent the American people. So people are really focused on the 9th district race. The RNC is very focused on this race. And at this point, we're just very focused on trying to get Jack Ciattarelli elected. This Friday, actually, they're going to be doing a rally for him in Wildwood. For everyone that's out here attending, it would be great if you guys can come out there and show some support. We're trying to get as much momentum behind our Republican candidates for the early voting that begins on the 24th of this month. And right after that, right after November 4th, right after Election Day, full steam ahead with my campaign in the same way that we've been going right now. And I'm just very excited about it.
And we should also mention there is a rally at MetLife Stadium, 5 p.m. in Lot G tonight. Jack is going to be making pork roll, Taylor ham, and cheese sandwiches, whichever you want to call it, pork roll and Taylor ham, depending on what part of New Jersey you're from. And he's going to be giving them up to fans of both teams as supplies last. So that's happening tonight, 5 p.m.
The fact that she couldn't even determine, the fact that she couldn't even answer the question and said that she didn't like pork roll or Taylor ham, that's a slap in the face. Every single person that's in New Jersey, now me personally, I know it's Taylor ham, but the fact that you say you don't even eat that, that's how I know for a fact you can't be the governor of New Jersey. That's that right there, full
She's
stop.
not born here. She's not born here. That's part of it too. So there you go. Carpetbagger. No, we'll see what happens. It is always a pleasure to have you on. Republican candidate for Congress in New Jersey's 9th congressional district encompassing Patterson, Billy Prempa. And by the way, Mikey Sherrill is welcome to come on. We've welcomed her on. We have Jack Ciattarelli coming on. They're both welcome to come on, and they could refute any of the claims anytime. We give them all the opportunity they'd like. Billy Prempa, thank you for coming on this morning. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I'll see you guys later at the MetLife Stadium.
You bet. We'll be there. And it is now 8:47. When we come back, we're heading into a critical election season, so making informed choices at the ballot box has never been more important. AARP is launching a statewide effort to provide trusted, nonpartisan information about the candidates and issues that matter most, and we'll talk all about it. If you're watching on New Jersey Mornings, we'll be right back.
We vote to protect the Social Security we worked hard for. We vote because family caregivers deserve support. We vote to have a say in our future. For all the reasons why, AARP has information about when, where, and how to vote. Find the information you need to make your voice heard.
Countdown to Election Day, presented by AARP New Jersey. Visit aarp.org/NJ Votes.
And straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta for a quick last check of the forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Hey, Ken, good morning. We've got a lovely feel outside, clear sky, nice dry air. It's one of those days you want to go to the park, go for a walk, because in the sun, it'll feel lovely, even warmer than the advertised 60 degrees in Wayne and 61 in Morristown. We started off about 25 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. Now we're warming through the rest of the morning, but in the sunshine, it'll feel better. Okay. The new drought monitor is in, and that northern section there striped in orange, that is the severe drought that is now beginning as of the last 7 days, all of the data showing that we've been very dry and dusty. So that severe drought extends through Sussex, Warren, even through northern sections of Morris County, western Passaic, and Bergen County, with the other areas there shaded in tan, which now spread all the way down through the western sections of New Jersey, even with the abnormally dry conditions through the rest of the state. And the proof is in the pudding. We have not seen much rainfall over the last 30 days with a 2 to 4 inch rainfall overall. We'll go right down to the 7-day forecast. We've got a lovely round of weather on the way for today and tomorrow, but with it follows some heavy rain. And that's the rain you see here coming up with Saturday and Sunday, featuring all of the wet weather that lasts into Monday. Stay safe. Ken?
As we head into a critical election season, making informed choices at the ballot box has never been more important. To help New Jersey voters get ready, AARP is launching a statewide effort to provide trusted, nonpartisan information about the candidates and issues that matter most, from healthcare and retirement security to caregiving and community safety. Joining us now is Chris Widello, who is State Director for AARP New Jersey, to tell us more about this initiative and how AARP is helping voters feel confident and informed before they cast their ballots. And for transparency, we want to mention that AARP New Jersey is one of our sponsors. Chris, good morning. Welcome. Good to have you on today.
Good morning, Ken. Good to see you.
You bet. So why is AARP prioritizing voter education for this election cycle?
Yeah, AARP has a long history of voter education. We've done this for decades. Just to clarify, AARP is nonpartisan. We don't support any particular candidate, any particular party, and we certainly don't contribute to any political action committees or campaigns. But we do educate our members. We have 1.2 million members in the Garden State, and we let them know what candidates are saying about issues that matter to them most. And you laid out a number of areas where we have interest in this upcoming gubernatorial election. And so we educate not only our members, but we also let the candidates know what, the pulse of the 50 plus, what they are thinking, what their concerns are, and and make sure that when people head to the polls on the 4th of November, less than a month, they have some quality information on helping them make a decision when they vote.
And also, for full transparency, I'm 58 and I've been a member since I'm 49. So I'm an AARP card carrying member myself. And honestly, yes, what you are saying, for anyone who has not checked out AARP, if you read the literature, it's impossible to tell what side of an issue you take. You are as down the middle as anything and any organization I've ever seen. It's amazing. What are the biggest issues you are hearing about from AARP members in New Jersey?
Yeah, sure. When we looked at some polling this past spring, when we talked to our members and the 50 plus in general, affordability is the top issue for New Jerseyans. And it's no secret that this is an expensive state to live in. But our respondents to this poll cited things like property taxes, and also utility affordability as being two of the barriers that prevent people from aging well here in New Jersey, because it becomes unaffordable. When you over 90% of people who were polled, both Democrats and Republicans, said affordability is a top issue, especially when it comes to things like property tax. And 48%, so nearly half of them, said that they've considered leaving New Jersey in the last year because of how expensive it is to be here. Great state, but it does take, it is an expensive place to live.
100%, and especially for retirees, where I live in northern New Jersey, I have so many friends who've said, we love it here. We don't want to do it, but we're going to have to sell our house and move to the Carolinas or move to Florida. And it's so sad to hear that after people have spent decades in a home in New Jersey and raised a family, that they can't just stay in their home until, in their golden years. So yeah, that is such an important topic, of course. And how does AARP ensure that the campaign remains strictly nonpartisan?
Sure. So, that is something that we are not being nonpartisan, and being, not tipping our hand either way is incredibly important, is I think the most important thing that we do. And so one of the ways that we do that is we ask the candidates to respond to a voter guide. So we interview them, each candidate, and so in their own words, they are able to respond to questions that we have. So AARP sets our policy. We have a policy book where we have a position on many issues, ranging from the ones that we just talked about to healthcare and beyond. And then we present our policy positions to the candidates in advance. And then when we do interview them, or we produce a video voter guide, which will be launching very soon, we are hearing the candidates respond to our position in their own words. So there is no, there is no confusion as to whether or not this is in fact the candidate's position. But again, our goal is to educate candidates, educate the public, and let them hear directly from the candidates on things like you mentioned, property taxes, utility rates, healthcare, and caregiving, which are just incredibly important to people in this election. And, the 50 plus vote is going to carry this election. They are the most influential voting bloc. And so we want candidates to pay attention to these issues and respond with, with positions that are that people can take in and decide when they head to the polls.
Yeah, Chris. And by the way, something else that I want to praise AARP about is the fact that you still have a printed resource. Your guide, your monthly guide is printed. And the reason I say that is because my parents are 87 and 94. My dad will be 95 in a few weeks. They don't like to get online and look at things. I do. I go to the website all the time.
Right.
But my parents like the fact that AARP mails them because they're also card carrying members and have been for many decades. They like the fact that you could still get a printed guide from AARP. So talk about again some of the different resources that AARP offers to help voters make those informed choices. You mentioned a few now. You mentioned the voter guide. What other resources do you have?
Sure. So we have, we obviously have our publications that we do mail out. We have a magazine, and we have a bulletin that goes out to select portions of our membership on a regular basis. And then our magazine is distributed to all AARP members. We also, but our online platform allows us to really get information up quickly and, and keep it updated in real time. So, we do have a website, aarp.org/njvotes. And on there, you can find information on our video voter guides, which we conducted with each of the candidates running for governor, and also information on how to vote, where to vote, when early voting takes place, when you can request and the deadlines for an absentee ballot. So we want to make it a one-stop shop. So if you have questions going into this election, you can find AARP resources about that. And we also link to our elections division here in New Jersey if you're looking for further information or you have specific questions that can't be answered by what is on our website.
So being that you led right into that, let me put that on you. What is the most common question or concern that you hear from older voters when it comes to elections?
Yeah, I think what we hear essentially is, where do I vote? When do I vote? Making sure that they understand, I think everybody now is kind of conditioned to when election day is, but with early voting and the opportunity to use a mail-in ballot, they just want to make sure that they have the deadlines correct. And I think one of the things that we have stressed is sort of the process of filing that mail-in ballot to make sure you do it the right way, that you seal it the correct way and sign it, and, all the steps that are required. Usually it's just the mechanics of it that we need to provide some guidance with, and it's again outlined on our website, and you also link to the state's website for further clarification. But we also know that they always do remind us that older voters vote, so they're proud of the fact that that they are going to be the deciders of this election, as they have for the last number of elections.
Yeah, we always hear with each election cycle, rock the vote, young people get out, and there's always that one mass of young people out at a rally, and you think, oh wow, they're going to influence the election. Then you find out that only 2% of them actually show up on election day. That doesn't mean that that'll always be the case, but it's just a fact that older people tend to vote in much larger percentages than younger people. So the message definitely can be made, and people need to get out there, and if you could early vote. That's another thing I wanted to ask you about. How are older people, or are they embracing the idea of vote by mail and early vote more? Because I know a lot of people were reticent about it in the beginning.
Yeah, I think it's become, a good convenience, right? That, people, just because they are older and they may be retired, doesn't mean they're not busy. It doesn't mean that they don't have other obligations. And so I think it's just another option that if they're not able to get to the polls for whatever reason, that they know that they have some options to either vote early, right? And take advantage of voting in person during that period of time. Or, if there is a need, they can request a mail-in ballot. So I think it's the convenience, I think, is becoming something that a lot of voters, all voters, are now appreciating.
Yeah, and what's a website, once again, for people to go to get AARP's election guides, compare the candidates, and check all the important deadlines?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank all the candidates for taking the time to respond, because it really just helps everybody make an informed decision. So it's aarp.org/NJ-votes.
All right. For more information on when, where, and how to vote, please visit, once again, aarp.org/NJ-votes. Chris Widello, State Director for AARP New Jersey. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Ken.